learn about my culture and language, to connect with the youth in Ethiopia, and to learn about the real issues that are occurring in Ethiopia from the eyes of my fellow Ethiopians so that I can help them in whatever way I can.
I wanted to come to Ethiopia so I could learn about my country, and then also I'll be able to gain a connection with the youth here, and so we could bridge the gap between miscommunication back there and here.
PATA and the MMRTI are creating a partnership to help young people in Ethiopia and in America. So what kind of relationship do you expect, and do you have any ideas or pointers that you'd like to give out?
But I think that once the students meet each other, share common interests, that they'll realize that they're all in this together, and they have a lot more similarities than they have differences. I see the sky is the limit. Definitely a language exchange. Some of the students coming from the United States could be learning Amharic and some of the other Ethiopian languages, and some of the Ethiopian students who may need help on their English, they could be learning more English. That's one thing. Technology transfer. A lot of the things that's going on here at the center, I see STEM being a big part of it. Coding, robotics. And especially media, being able to document our stories, because that's one of the most important things, and why I appreciate MMRTI is that, there's so many things that are going on, but people don't know about it. You have to be able to document it and share it with people so that they know about it. Otherwise, for them, it's not something that exists. There's many people who don't know that a Colonel John Robinson exists, and many people that don't know that there is any relationship between Ethiopians and African Americans throughout history, whereas there's a very long relationship. It may not be the biggest, loudest relationship in your face, but if we need to document it more, and then we can spread it out. So, there's a saying about Ethiopia that Ethiopia is a museum of peoples. And that's so true, because it's sometimes I just find myself just not trying to stare at people too much, but just looking at how diverse the people look. I mean, you have every type of skin complexion, every type of hair texture, every type of so many different languages that are being spoken, so many different religions. You have mosques and Orthodox churches and Protestant churches, and they have a Jewish community, and people in the South still practicing the traditional beliefs. So it's a beautiful experience to be in a city like this. I like coming here because, a lot of people, when they first see me, they just assume that I'm Ethiopian. So I like that. It's nice to not feel different. I had the opportunity to go to see the history. When you know the Ethiopian history is when you can appreciate the present even more. You know about Aksum and Gondar being the former capitals of Ethiopia, and Lalibela, and some of these amazing sites, these ancient churches and ancient monasteries and castles and all these different things that they have. It's amazing. I mean, and then even if you go to Shashamane, they have maybe even 1,000 or more people who came from the Caribbean and America, and they moved to Ethiopia and they live there now. So that's something that you wouldn't necessarily, it's special. Ethiopia is a very special place. So anyone interested in coming to Ethiopia, I would say definitely come, and definitely do your homework, because if you don't do your homework, there's many things that you could miss.
So what message do you have to African Americans and Ethiopian Americans back in the States?
And this message will go even beyond just African Americans and Ethiopians. I mean, we have many different people from Africa living in the United States, and I would encourage all of them to visit Ethiopia. But especially, I'll start with African Americans, because that's my experience. It's a beautiful experience to come to a country that has its own alphabet and has many languages. One of the things that was taken from us when we were sold into enslavement and brought into America was our language. And, maybe we came from Ethiopia, maybe we didn't. We don't know. But the point is, they have their own alphabet, and that's a strong showing of self-determination. That's something that we can learn from, and so it's amazing to be a part of that. For Ethiopian Americans, you know, I have friends, and it seems that many of them are sometimes caught between two worlds. They may feel like they're not fully Ethiopian, or they may not feel like they're really African American, but they may not feel like they're either, or they just want to be an individual. But what I would say to them is, you have a strong history and culture, and you need to stand on that. If you don't know your history and your culture, then you'll be lost, and you'll be easily manipulated by other people. You know, it's something that you have to have, and it's a beautiful experience. Don't give it up so easily when you have your language and your culture. Don't just give it up so easily.
What is Ethiopianism to you? What does Ethiopianism just mean to you?
The status quo, or the word around Africa about Ethiopianism is about freedom. It's about being unconquered. Like, of course, it's a known fact that Ethiopia is one of the two countries in Africa that hasn't been colonized by a foreign power. But to the youth in Ethiopia, Ethiopianism is mainly about the culture is very diverse in Ethiopia, that you don't really have time to think about it. Like it immerses you inside it, and that you don't really think about it, but you're experiencing many things whilst inside it. But it's so overwhelming that you don't really have time to count and think and find out which one is your favorite one, or which one is specifically what is about Ethiopianism. So I would say, due to the very diverse nature of Ethiopia, it is hard to pinpoint exactly what is Ethiopianism.
So thank you so much for that elaboration of Ethiopianism. So, since we are trying to connect youth from America and here, and also vice versa, I guess that explanation really must be told so that they could understand what it really means about Ethiopianism. So what do you feel about we connecting with the youth, especially in America, with the youth in America? How do you feel about this connection that we are trying to create?
I think it's very essential to create a hard line, as you say. So like a connection that people can just rely on and come and use that connection in order to understand what it means to be an Ethiopian in America and to be an American in Ethiopia. Every American or every foreign person that I know that had come to Ethiopia has just had their minds just blown. Like, this is amazing, they would say. But most young people, especially in Addis Ababa, which is the capital of Ethiopia, don't really appreciate what they have, and all they try is to get out and not look back. And this is a very very misleaded kind of train of thought, because they think that you just get out of Ethiopia, maybe if you get lucky you get into America, and then you're set. That's how people think. They just get to America and then you're done. But I would think with the connection we're trying to create, and with the cultural experience sharing that is happening through the connection we're creating, people who are already there and people who have learned the hard way can share the experience to people who are trying to get out, and tell them what it's really like on the ground to be Ethiopian, to be African, to be of color in America. And personally, I was born and raised. I actually have not left Addis Ababa until pretty recently. So that was like 20 years in Addis Ababa. People don't really know what it's like to be different, because Ethiopian culture really accepts you as you are. There's a lot of difference inside its culture, so people don't understand what it's like to be different. whilst being in Ethiopia. When they go abroad and they go there, they experience many different things, and I'm sure you would be able to tell me a lot about that. But as I said, the Ethiopian youth is just all about the grass being greener on the other side. Like the ruler, you would know this. Addis Ababa is actually a very small portion of the population, and much of the population is in the rural areas. So this is what happens. 85% of the country, the youth, they see the capitals, the capital cities, and they think it's all good. Just get to Addis Ababa, you're all set. So they migrate to Addis Ababa. People already in Addis Ababa, they think, oh, America must be great. So they just go to America, they think it's set. So it's all about, they think the grass is greener on the other side. And if a person who from the other side can tell them it's the same kind of grass, they would just know, and they would be able to plan it wisely. It does not mean that people don't need to go to America. Of course, there's better educational opportunities there, and they could be smart about it. They can go there and they could gain what is to be gained and return to their homeland, motherland, and share that experience with others.
Hi, we are today at Colonel Robinson Center in Addis Ababa. I got two guests with me today. Introduce yourself and tell us what you do in the American Media Center.
My name is Merit Zellaka, and I'm an 11th grader here in Addis. And here at the American Center, I volunteer as anything that I could do. And currently, I'm leading the English Conversation Club at Wednesday.
My name is Abim Samu, and I am going to be an 11th grader next year as well. And I am a volunteer in the American Center, and I take care of the English Conversation Club and whatever that we can do here.
Could you tell us a little bit about volunteerism and what volunteerism is all about?
Well, people could get a lot of things out of volunteerism, and when a person volunteers, it could be based on passion or the satisfaction that he or she gets out of what they're doing, and it could be experience on what you're doing. So volunteerism has its own benefits. Mostly it has only benefits, and it may not be financial benefit, but it is the satisfaction that you get when you're doing something that you actually like, and the feeling that you get when you're helping people, it's irreplaceable, and the experience you get also is quite unbelievable when you do something and you have that specific experience while doing it, and you have experience, satisfaction. You get this out of volunteerism.
Well, she said it all, basically. The term says it, volunteerism. It gives this internal satisfaction that you can never express by words, as cliche as that sounds. I know we've heard it a lot of times, and most people don't actually believe it, but I do believe it. And it gives you exposure to different things, different kinds of people, different kinds of cultures as well, and the diversity you experience while you're volunteering, and the people who actually appreciate you for something, it's actually a big deal. It's irreplaceable, in the words of Merit.
So, what do you think the community can get out of this, like out of volunteerism? When people volunteer, what does the community take advantage of it? Like, what's the main important for the community?
Well, first thing is when you volunteer, you're not paid, so they're getting something without paying. And the other thing is they get to see what the generation is able to do. They can see their capability of things. For example, a few weeks ago, we were volunteering as people who teach English to older people working at Nala here, and they were very happy to see us speaking English. They didn't think the generation right now could actually speak this kind of English, and they were very amazed. I was surprised that they were surprised, and they get to see what the generation is doing. So
well, first thing is that they get to see that this country actually has hope. most people, especially older people, have this habit of saying that Ethiopia is not in the hands of good people, because they think the new generation is so occupied with movies and the technology, and they don't exactly know that you can use the technology for good things. So, for example, the people we taught English at the people working at Lala, and they used to think that movies were just for the purpose of spoiling kids. But I believe that I kind of proved them wrong by doing so, by volunteering to them. So they can actually believe that this country is in good hands.
Here in the Colonel Robertson Center, in the Media Center, there's a lot of activities going on. So do you guys plan on, like in the future or maybe next summer probably, do you guys plan to volunteer again here in the Colonel Robertson Center?
If it's in God's will and we're here and we're alive, yes, sure, it's a very fun thing to do. You have fun with the people around here, so I think I would volunteer.
Well, definitely.
Aside of English language, like right now you're teaching English right now. So aside of that, what other things would you like to teach us as a volunteership or anything?
Aside from English, I would like to work with autisms and share with them what they feel, and I would like to teach them that it's not a setback. It's not to determine their future. So they could have hopes. Like they could understand. People actually can understand them. I would like to work with them and give them hope.
I would like to involve in promotion of the American Center. I would like to tell people that they should volunteer and spend probably all of their summer trying to volunteer here. And I would like to work with not necessarily autisms, but people who are disabled generally. They have to get out of the thoughts and the habitual thoughts that they got in their minds that they are not able to do anything. I will volunteer in that sector.
My last question for you guys is, what kind of things would you like the Colonel Robertson Center to have, like as an addition or surplus?
Maybe more connections that are able to be accessed by volunteers and not only by the heads. I would go for more connections, but the rest of the things, the technologies here, the environment is also perfect, so I wouldn't add anything else except for more communications.
I think the center should start working on its promotion. Nobody knows about the center unless you have a friend or a person who comes and volunteers here. So they should work on their promotion, and we're willing to promote on behalf of them.
First of all, introduce yourself for me.
My name's Gubala. I learn in Labao Academy. I'm a rising senior, and I think that's it.
So how did you find this place?
So I'm a student at Labao Academy. So I've learned a lot of things, and I've also learned to give back to my community. So if I've been through a life journey where I had to learn things, I always learned to give back to the community. So if I'm in 12th grade, and if I have friends and students, classmates, fellow Ethiopians in 11th grade, and there are things that I know that they don't know, I have learned to teach them what they don't know. So from that, I've been working as an intern, teaching African studies and a lot of things. And through that, I decided for my career to be a teacher. So now I want to be a teacher, an educator. So that's why every time there's a teaching session, I always volunteer to do it, because I'm very happy to do it.
So what are you planning on doing in the future?
I'm not a structured kind of person, so I don't go one path. I like to explore things a lot. So career-wise, just like I said, I would love to be a teacher. So I would love to take classes in politics and government, anthropology, education, legal studies, and etc. But in any way, I would love to give back to my country. And I know I will do that. because from my birth to my journey of 18 years, it's my society who's been helping me grow. I've learned a lot, and I have to give that back, because if I don't do my share as an Ethiopian, there would be no one who's going to give that share, because I believe when a person is born, that person is born with an inner medicine to this world, something that I can give that nobody else can't. So I would want to explore that, and I would want to give it back to my country. And I would want to be a teacher that not only teaches books, page 1, page 2. I want to teach life. I want to teach them to be ethical, to be just, to be patriotic. I want to teach them to be the good people that any country could appreciate to have, a good citizen that works for the common good. So that's my plan for the future. I would also love to give back to my family who's been loving me so much, my family who's been helping me reach here, this great stage. And I'm going to discover myself as I go on. I believe I'm like a bundle that is always being discovered. So until the last breath that I have on this earth, I always have something new to do, new to learn, and new to give back. So that's what I believe. Thank you.
So do you have any message for the community?
I have a message for Ethiopia. I love Ethiopians. I love my country, and I know every Ethiopian loves their country. And I assure you that we're going to be developed in our own way and not mimicking any other country. Just because one country did something, we don't have to copy that and go along doing the same thing that they did. I would say let's focus more on our culture and the ways that we have to develop. So we have our own resources, our own culture, and our own ways of doing things. I think the biggest potential that we have is our diversity. So using that diversity to our advantage is really good. We have to appreciate ourselves as we really are, and also work for our country as a whole.
In addition to extracurricular activities, you focus more on Ethiopianism or Ethiopian-American. Could you tell us more about Ethiopian-American, about culture, about language, what this institute teaches you about it?
Labawi has taught us to appreciate our identity, to appreciate Ethiopianism. Ethiopianism is like more of our appreciating our identity. It includes our clothings, it includes our language, it includes the society we live in, and every of our culture and historical perspectives. And
in addition to this Ethiopian or Ethiopianism teachings here in Labawi, what kind of family sense do you guys have? It could be with the staff or with each other, with the students too.
We're like family here. Our teachers are like brothers to us, and our classmates. We have grown to become like a big family, and our teachers advise us not just only academically but also life.
Since most of our viewers are youth, and since our TV program is also a youth program, what message do you have to your youths back in Seattle?
I would say determination and curiosity are one of the things that everybody has to use towards their success in life. We have to be curious in order to know first our surrounding, and also we have to ask ourselves where do we want to be in the future.
Country as a whole.
My message for Ethiopians or Habeshas in other countries is there are a lot of things and cultures that you don't know from here. Like there's a lot of research you have to do, because Ethiopia is truly a great place, and even this is where the human civilization or the human race started, and there's a lot of things that are to be discovered from this place, and it's a pretty great place. It's just that the people here with potential don't have access, and you can help by sponsoring or by funding, by helping, and that's all.
So my message for Ethiopian people and foreign countries is to come to your country and learn more about your country, about the art, about everything about Ethiopia, because Ethiopia is really an interesting country, and you can learn a lot. And also you can help out kids that are learning and that are volunteering here and working. We really need your support.
and the users with MRTI. I would like to appreciate your courage and coming to Gondar to work with us. And I assure you that we will work together in the coming future. And I appreciate what you are doing to change your country, to help your people, to make people with technology and multimedia accessibilities. And I appreciate again for your efforts. Please come again. We are ready to work with you. Thank you so much.
So, Professor Panos, what's your final message to the youth that's back in Seattle, especially the American-born Ethiopians youth?
And in the context of the Labawi Academy, what I would like to say to the young people in Seattle is you have a home here at Labawi, not only as Ethiopians, not only as Africans, but also simply as global citizens, as human beings. You have a home here at Labawi. You can come anytime and visit. You can engage in various projects that is sponsored by Labawi. We have young people coming from different parts of the world all the time. We have specific summer projects and throughout the academic year. So one thing that you can do is you can engage in different kinds of projects. But in the larger sense, what I would like to say is Ethiopia is a place where great truths that human beings have uncovered, history, mythology, facts converge. It's a land where all these things kind of coexist simultaneously all at once. And while you can use Labawi as a point of entry, what you're entering to is a land of magnificent wonders. So if you were to come to Labawi, I can guarantee that you will learn and discover many things about yourself as well as humanity itself. After all, few hundred kilometers from here, our great ancestors walked as human beings for the first time. So this is the birthplace of humanity. This is the birthplace of humankind. So to come here, whether you're Ethiopian or not, is to come back home. So come back, explore both the school and this magnificent land. That's my message.